I expected your call as soon as I heard the name.
It's time to make yourself useful, Empire.
Hello, fellow psycho-historians. It's that time again. Foundation Season 3 has recently dropped 2 massive episodes, and the second episode, Shadows in the Math, and the third episode, When a Book Finds You. Now, while the second episode covers a century and a half of galactic drama, the third episode ratchets up the mystery and intrigue with the introduction of a new character, a brand new mission for Brother Dawn, and a robot twist that nobody saw coming. Welcome back, ScreenCrush. I'm Ryan Airy, and these are all of the Easter eggs, references, and little things that you might have missed in Foundation Season 3, Episodes 2 and 3. Episode 2 actually spends a pretty good chunk of time explaining how Gaal Dornick got back in the game, thanks to 148 years of going into cryosleep. Through conferring with Harry, who woke up a few more times over the years and is now super old, Gail learns of basically 2 big mysteries for Foundation Season 3. What's the deal with the Mule, but also, what is the third crisis? Both Harry and Preem Palaver say that the Mule's invasion of Calgan is something else and separate from the third crisis. But in talking about the third crisis, Harry drops a pretty big Easter egg. A warship called the Invictus, which first appeared in Foundation Season 1, is somehow the key to everything after the Mule is defeated. Episode 2 also featured the reappearance of Kalle, which is a reference and Easter egg to an old school mathematician first mentioned in Foundation Season 1.
So, you know Kalle's ninth proof of folding.
Yes, I couldn't have solved Abraxas without it.
Who appeared as an embodiment of the Prime Radiant in Season 2, who then brought Harry back to life. Now she's back and takes Harry through some kind of dimensional door. Where are they going? We don't know. But speaking of the Easter egg of Kalle and her ancient book, which contains the 9th proof of folding, that very specific book is the one object that kicks off pretty much the entirety of Brother Day's story in Episode 3. The book, which looks like a cool triangle, was first introduced in the very first episode of Foundation and contains an ancient equation that Gail used to impress Harry. By the present tense of Foundation Season 3, that book is doubly ancient because it's been banned by the Empire because of the fact that it was a, quote, bedrock inspiration for the Foundation. Brother Dawn recounts the fact that
Selden gave the original manuscript away from this very library to Gaal Dornick.
he calls Selden Raven Selden, a nickname that is also from Season 1, and mentions that Cleon 12 banned the book. Cleon 12 was the middle throne Cleon in that very first episode. Dawn, who is about to become Day, is Cleon 25.
Wait, isn't Dawn working for Gaal Dornick in the Foundation now?
That's right. As the end of Episode 2 revealed, Dawn is some kind of spy for Gail, and part of the brief flashback at the start of Episode 3 explained how he got recruited. Basically, an Easter egg from Season 1 made Gail realize he was into psychohistory, and now they're both going to go psycho together. See, because Dawn wanted to check out that forbidden book from the librarian was alerted that he might be someone who might want to work for the Second Foundation. So the librarian was a spy. And of all the Cleons from the show, Dawn is the first one we've seen working with the Foundation, not just as an informant, but also trying to help them. Well, technically, he's not helping the Foundation, he's helping the Second Foundation. Gail is working with a bunch of the mentalics with the secret Second Foundation, which is helping the Foundation without the Foundation knowing about it. And as we see Gail and Dawn have their initial espionage meet-cute, we get a few more Easter eggs from previous seasons of the show. Dawn mentions that he has to wear a silly little disguise because
Face scramblers are traceable across Trantor, thanks to one of my predecessors.
This is a reference to the end of Season 2, when Dawn escaped with Queen Sereth and used face scramblers to make it look like they were still on the planet. Gail also references this event when she says,
Dawn 18th fled Trantor with a foreign queen.
She also references Season 1 when she jokes that Dawn 14 tried to leave the palace with a gardener.
Wow, so these young Cleon clones just love to try to bust out of the system, right?
Well, you could say they're just men who started to think for themselves. Some might say this is because of the concept of genetic drift introduced in Season 1, that the various Cleons have tended to stray from the ideologies of Cleon the First, especially the younger Cleons or the Brother Dawns. Speaking of thinking for yourself, Gail is super worried about Dawn meeting the Mule in person because he can control people's minds.
Yeah, but so can Gail, right?
That's right, Gail is a mentalic, as is the Mule, and when we head back to Calgon in this episode, we're faced with even more mind control action. As Beta and Torin Mallow hit up a party with Foundation agent Captain Han Pritchard, they also see Magnifico Giganticus for the first time. Now we're told that Mule sometimes brings the musician into battle, and that the music is hypnotic.
Well, yeah, but why doesn't Han stay at the party to dance?
Well, Han is a mentalic, and the Mule is too. Chronologically, this this is also the moment that the Mule learns the name of Gaal Dornick, which is an Easter egg for many of the flash forwards in Season 2, in which the Mule already knew her name. Here, all of the future visions have caught up with the present. Also, if you look closely, you'll notice that whenever the Mule uses his powers on the show, the camera frame sort of aberrates, indicating that we're in a kind of altered state.
Well, why does the Mule even keep Magnifico around?
Well, right now, we don't know, but one theory might be that somehow Magnifico amplifies the Mule's powers.
This actually is something we saw, or rather heard, in episode 1 of season 3. Magnifico's music was actually playing as the Mule arrived to conquer Calgon.
It's his balladeer.
At the end of the episode, when the Mule is murdering someone, he notes that he can't let the victim enjoy their death because, quote, somebody took my balladeer.
I call him Maggie.
Yeah, that's right. After Beta takes pity on Magnifico, she and Torin all escape, and she's taken to calling him Maggie for short. It's very cute. But like many other seasons of Foundation, the best Easter eggs and twists are connected to the Cleon clones. In episode 3, the current brother Day is trying to figure out how to escape the palace and also how to give his Imperial nanites to his first Claviger, who is basically the head guard of the Imperial troops. Day's Imperial nanites are an Easter egg that goes back to season 1, in which we learned that all of the Cleons have microbots in their bloodstream that can repair most major physical damage. This tech has remained pretty much unchanged for several centuries. The Cleons have ruled, but now Day is planning on giving his Imperial nanites to his first Claviger's daughter.
But why?
Well, that kid has a terminal illness, and the medical miracle of the nanobots can save her. Day is planning on bringing his lover, Song, along with him in his escape, and she says that she will be keeping her memories.
And I'll be joining him with my memory intact.
So this is an Easter egg for many of the events in Season 1, but most specifically connects to the relationship that Brother Dusk had with Rue in Season 2. In that season, we learned that most of Rue's entire relationship with Dusk had been wiped from her memory. In the episode's biggest twist, Day reveals to Song that
Demerzel's a robot.
which doesn't really frighten Song, but instead makes her want to ditch their plan of escaping the palace and starting a new life. Song talks about a war between robots and humans, which is an Easter egg for everything we learned about the history of Demrezel in Season 2, Episode 9. But at the end of the episode, we learn that Song is happy that Demrezel is a robot because she belongs to a secret religion called the Inheritance. Now, because Song touched her arm in a specific way when she saw Demrezel, that revealed everything.
But wouldn't Demerzel love it if people started worshiping robots? Then she wouldn't be so lonely.
Well, you'd think, but the problem is, as we learned in Season 2, in that same flashback episode, long ago not far away, Cleon the First reprogrammed Demrezel to protect the genetic line at all costs. This also means that she has to keep the fact that she is a robot a secret. But Demrezel tells Day at the end of the episode that she did not kill Song, but rather simply erased her memory and sent her to live in the Mycogen sector, which is where she's from. She says,
For you, I've done this.
when she reveals that Song's memory has been wiped, and we can see Demrezel hoping that Brother Day will show her some affection. Now, this is kind of an Easter egg for the beginning of Season 2, where we learned that Cleon 17 was actually sleeping with Demrezel and had a very unique romantic and sexual relationship with her. Both Cleon 17 and Cleon 24 might look like Lee Pace, but our current Brother Day is not the same character from Season 2, meaning he is furious with Demrezel, which we can see breaks her heart, even though she's a robot. So, what does all of this mean? We know that Demrezel has killed people to keep secrets before, so why did she let Song live? If the Empire comes to an end, wouldn't that mean that Demrezel would be pumped about a group of humans who view robots as saviors? Let me know what you think about all that down in the comments. Now, meanwhile, everything we thought we knew about the Mule seems to be in flux. If his powers are different without Magnifico around, then who is the true power behind the Mule schemes? Finally, does Brother Dawn really want to keep helping the Second Foundation? Or does he have something else up that fancy robe of his? Let us know your theories about all of these twists down in the comments below, and whether or not you'd like to live in a world where Demrezel was running everything and all the dance clubs look like this. Big shout out to Ryan Britt who wrote this episode, and don't forget to subscribe to Apple TV Plus, the sponsor of this video. And let me know what you thought down in the comments, or at me on Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, or on our free to join Discord server. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe, smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.